December 15th is a full moon in Gemini. This is happening simultaneously as Mercury is going direct. We're also experiencing Mars retrograde, and Pluto recently went into Aquarius. So this full moon is going to represent a lucky closure. There will be a relief to something that is coming to a full stop, whether it is that you specifically perceive you won or you lost. There will be no middle. It'll be a very clear one or the other. Though what it is that you think is happening is actually not the case, and that won't be revealed until later in the future. So I invite you to get curious about your blind spot. Gemini is a sign that represents communication, fast thought, travel. And so because of this, there may be a propensity for us to communicate very quickly on something that we get triggered into expressing. Though, because you might be communicating on a situation or a topic that is actually your blind spot, which means that your current perspective, which you may swear through and through is truth, albeit fact, never wavering, may be exactly what might shift in the near future when you are revealed more information. So, is it more important for you to be right or to be kind? Because this is a moment where we can take a shift in timeline. You have a fork in the road here. Are you going to express something very vehemently and clearly because you want to be right and share your truth? Or are you going to pause and understand that because you might not be seeing things clearly, it's wiser and more caring to express through kindness? This may be a moment that you will recognize in the near future that potentially could bring about regret, which is wishing you hadn't have taken certain actions or made certain choices because now it's reflecting on your karma, action-reaction, or for a more advanced spirit, remorse, which is something that you might experience because in hindsight, when you look back, because you moved through an egoic reaction, you're now aware that you undermined your own ethical and moral code. You chose self-righteousness or being right. You chose your egocentricity over kindness and compassion, humility and care. You became rigid in your thinking of what you knew to be so, only to realize later that it's not the case at all. So you have an opportunity here as you're standing at a subconscious fork in the road to slow down and contemplate what if what you perceive is not actually going to be the case in the near future. As Mercury goes direct, the energy gets a little uncomfortable and awkward as we come about faiths and things are slowly picking up momentum. Things are clearing out of the way and our path is opening up, but it's an awkward thing because we haven't built up the inertia yet. We're just pushing forward. Mars retrograde is a notorious time for people to become highly defensive, very reactive, to become triggered and pop off in a way that they absolutely may regret in the near future. But they weren't able to quell their anger or their defenses or their upsets. So it's an opportunity for you to take what's challenging and frustrating that's before you and offer up some patience, wisdom, humility, and kindness. Can you observe the environment and the territory and maybe the emotions and the feelings coming up in you and allow them to simply be sensations? A bit like if you were in an environment where there's mist or dew. You're feeling it, you're experiencing it, but you're not allowing it to affect you so thoroughly. Simply be witness to the volatility that can be transmuted, that can be sublimated into powerful, helpful energy that you can direct in another way, as opposed to pushing it onto a situation or a person through vengeance, through hostility, through indignation, what have you. Also, Pluto in Aquarius is a time that is extremely powerful, unprecedented in our lifetime, which means that karmic retribution is about. So those of us that have been experiencing things where we have not been standing in our highest truth and alignment with who it is we would like to represent ourselves are going to now be experiencing the ramifications of that. But for those of us that have been standing in our truth, have been working diligently to be honorable and integral in humility, acknowledging and taking responsibility for our mistakes and forgiving, we will be seeing the retribution coming forward that we have deserved. Patience is key at this time. And remember, not everything is as it seems. So in the near future, when you look back to what's happening at this time that you may be so passionate and lit up about and wanting to stand on your soapbox and express to certain people or the world, is this a moment that you may deeply regret in the near future because you couldn't see the forest for the trees?